Welcome to Beyond Belief, the place where faith meets life, not just the tidy edited version, but the messy, awkward, sometimes beautiful reality of it all. I want to start with a question. How often do you watch a movie or scroll through your feed and think, why doesn't my life look like that? We've been trained to believe that life should feel cinematic. Perfect hair, perfect timing, perfect romance, perfect success. And yet, here we are, spilling coffee on our shirts, forgetting our passwords, surviving Monday one breath at a time. Today, we're going to talk about the gap between Hollywood's story and God's story, and why real life, the messy, ordinary, sometimes awkward reality, is actually where God shows up most powerfully. We'll laugh, we'll ponder, we'll wrestle with truth, and we'll discover that God's story is far more beautiful than anything Hollywood can produce. Let me start with something personal. The other morning, I walked into my kitchen to make coffee. I reached for the milk and realized there was none. No milk at all. I sighed, grabbed my coffee away, and in a twist of cosmic comedy, it spilled all over my shirt. At that moment, I thought, if this were a Hollywood movie, the camera would zoom in on my perfectly clean shirt, dramatic music would swell, and someone would hand me a fresh latte with a smile. Reality? My shirt's ruined. My kitchen smells like burnt coffee, and a very judgmental cat is staring at me. And it made me wonder, why do we let ourselves be fooled into thinking life should look like a Hollywood trailer? Hollywood teaches love is instant, but real love? It's slow, it's patience, it sometimes hurts. Hollywood teaches us success is easy, but real success? It's a grind. It's failing and getting back up. Hollywood teaches happiness is constant. But real life? Happiness comes in moments, and God shows up in the cracks. Have you ever tried online dating? You thought you were going to meet someone movie perfect. Instead, you got someone taking 15 selfies and asking you to pay for your own coffee. Hollywood lied to you again. And yet, in these ordinary, often awkward moments, God is present. He's writing a story far richer than anything Hollywood can produce. Let's talk about us. We've all been seduced by Hollywood's version of life. It doesn't just sell movies. It sells ideas about what our lives should look like. Social media, same story. Perfect breakfasts, perfect vacations, perfect smiles. Meanwhile, our reality is often unedited. Coffee spills, deadlines that loom, mood swings. And yet, we measure ourselves against the highlight reels. Have you ever noticed this? We scroll through our feeds to see someone's perfect life and feel small, frustrated, or even discouraged. But here's the thing. God made the messy, the ordinary, the behind-the-scenes moments, and He calls them holy. Ecclesiastes 7 verse 14 says, "When times are good, be happy, but when times are bad, consider this. God has made the one as well as the other." Do you hear that? God isn't in the business of perfection. He's in the business of presence. And the ordinary is exactly where He shows up. I want you to pause and think about a time when life felt ordinary, or worse, hard. Maybe a failed exam, a broken friendship, or a job that drains you. And yet, in those moments, wasn't God there? Often quietly, often unnoticed, but always faithful. That's a shared reality we are all part of. Life isn't a highlight reel, it's a journey, and God meets us in the journey. Here's where we shift to the God part of the story. God's story is nothing like Hollywood. Think about Jesus' life. If Hollywood made a trailer, it might look exciting. Miracles, confrontations, drama. But the real story? Teaching small groups on mountainsides, healing quietly, eating with sinners, washing feet. Ordinary, radical, beautiful. Matthew 5 verse 5 says, "Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth." Hollywood says, "Assert yourself, fight for your place, show off." God says, humility, patience, grace. And here's the twist. Humility and grace often look boring on a movie screen, but in real life, they are transformational. Think of David. Hollywood would have shown a confident king from day one. Reality? Hiding from Saul, tending sheep, learning to trust God step by step. Joseph? Sold into slavery, falsely imprisoned, waiting for years for God's timing. Hollywood? Montage of triumph. Reality? Painful, faithful, messy, and holy. God is a master storyteller, and He writes a story that Hollywood can't touch. A story where the ordinary becomes extraordinary, where the mundane is infused with His presence, and where waiting, suffering, and patience are part of the glory. And this is the invitation, to live fully in the ordinary and trust God is at work. So, how do we live in a world that constantly sells us perfection? First, stop comparing your behind the scenes with somebody else's trailer. Your life isn't a highlight reel. It's a masterpiece in progress. Secondly, celebrate the small victories. Did you show patience today? Forgive someone? Survive Monday? These are wins. Thirdly, anchor your story in God's truth, not Hollywood's fantasy. Romans 12 verse 2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Finally, practice gratitude for the ordinary. God shows up in spilled coffee, the messy kitchen, the unfinished to-do list. The ordinary is the canvas where God paints the extraordinary. And when we stop comparing, stop striving for Hollywood perfection, and start embracing our real lives, we can see God's hand in ways we never imagined. Here's your takeaway. Life isn't Hollywood, and that is a gift. Stop measuring yourself against curated feeds. Lean into messy, imperfect, ordinary moments. Trust that God is writing a story more beautiful than any movie you've ever seen. Even spilled coffee can be a holy moment. Even awkward failure can be sacred lessons. God is present, even when the camera is not rolling. Hollywood sells perfection. God calls us to presence. Real life is messy, sometimes funny and often mundane, but it's where God works. Scripture reminds us to find contentment in the ordinary, trusting God with our story. Your life may not look perfect, but in God's hands, it's perfectly designed. And now, may you find joy in the mess. May you see God in ordinary moments. May you embrace the imperfect. May you trust that the God who sees the spilled coffee sees your heart, your struggles, and your journey. and may your life be blessed. Not because it's perfect, but because it's real and God is with you in every scene. Thank you for joining me on Beyond Belief. Remember, the best stories aren't the ones with perfect lighting. They're the ones with real people, real struggles, and a God who never lets the story end. Take this week to lean into reality, laugh at the mess, celebrate the victories, and trust the Creator of all stories to guide you. Until next time, God bless.